Hi students, in this class we will learn some basic things about the passive voice.
Okay, here you have some examples of some passive sentences. Now, as you can see, what we have is the verb to be, and the main verb is always in the participle. Verb to be in number 2 again, and the participle, in this case, of a regular verb. In number 3, we had the verb to be, and again the participle. Now notice that in number 3 we are with a continuous verb. That's why the verb to be is duplicated. Now don't confuse the first verb to be, which is part of the continuous tense. The second verb to be is part of the passive. Okay? So this is continuous, and this is part of the passive. Okay? In number 4, we have the future. Okay? The future of the verb to be will be, and then again the participle of the main verb. In number 5, we have the present perfect of the verb to be plus the participle of the main verb. And finally, in number 6, what we have is a model with the verb to be plus the participle, in this case, of an irregular verb. So basically, what you need to bear in mind is that you need the verb to be plus the participle. Okay? Now, in the next slide, you're going to see the composition of the passive with more detail. First of all, you need the passive subject. Then you need the verb to be. Then you need the participle. In case you use an agent, it has to be preceded by the preposition by. And finally, you will have other complements if those were necessary. Finally, I'm going to tell you some tips for rephrasing. Now remember that the object always becomes the subject and vice versa. Let's have a look at some of the examples you have in point number 3. He cleans the room. The room is cleaned. The room is the object. Okay? So the room becomes the subject of the passive voiced. Then you need the verb to be and the participle. Now notice that the verb to be is in the present. Present simple. Why? Because the verb of the active voice is in the present too. So both verbs are in the present simple. In the next sentence, we have I drove a car. Drove is in the past. Therefore, the verb to be needs to be in the past. They are both in the past simple. So notice that they have to be the same tense. Now in the next sentence, the main verb is in the present continuous. So the verb to be needs to be in the present continuous. And then notice that you have to add the participle. Okay? In this case, it's an irregular verb. Take, took, taken. Now, in the previous sentence, you had driven. Okay? Remember, drive, drove, driven. In the next sentence, you have a present perfect with one particle here, which is just. Well, the verb to be needs to be in the present perfect, right with the same particle. Again, don't forget about the participle. Now, the next sentences, the two last sentences, have modal verbs. And that means that the modal verb needs to be used too. Of course, with the verb to be. And finally, with the participle.